Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Ashok Goyal from the Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module named Classification of Integral Equations, Relationship between the Integral and Differential Equations from the paper Mathematical Physics. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. In this module, we are going to learn to convert a differential equation with either Cauchy or Dirichlet boundary conditions into the corresponding integral equation. We will also learn the opposite, that is to convert an integral equation into a differential equation with specific boundary conditions. We discuss first the conversion of differential equation into a corresponding integral equation. The first example that we consider is the example of a differential equation of a harmonic oscillator in one dimension, whose differential equation you are all familiar with is given by d2 fx by dx square plus omega square, fx is equal to 0. This is the oscillator in one dimensional with x lying between minus infinity to plus infinity. If the boundary condition is of the Cauchy type, say at a point in the boundary, let's say the point to be at x is equal to 0. So if the boundary conditions are that f of 0 is equal to f naught and the first derivative of f evaluated at the point x is equal to 0 is some other fixed value f. This equation is of the type just discussed. Equation 310 with C1x is equal to 0, C0x is equal to omega square and Gx is equal to 0. So the Volterra integral equation corresponding to the equation 3.15 can be directly read off from 3.14 and the equation looks like f of x is equal to f of 0 plus f1x minus omega square 0 to x integral x minus x prime fx prime dx prime. So in this integral, the kernel is minus omega square into x minus x prime and the inhomogeneous term is f naught plus f1x. Continuing with the conversion of a differential equation into a corresponding integral equation, we consider the example with the Cauchy type boundary condition. If, on the other hand, the boundary condition is a two-point boundary condition, say for example, the value of the function at the boundary point a, f of a, is some number h naught, and the value of the function at another point on the boundary b, f of b is equal to some number h1, where a and b lie in the interval minus infinity to infinity, where the equation has been defined, then one needs to proceed differently in converting the differential equation of the oscillator, namely d2f by dx square plus omega square f of x is equal to 0. If we integrate this equation once, we get f prime x minus f prime a is equal to minus omega square integral of fx prime dx prime from a to x. However, unlike the previous case, f prime a is not given at the boundary. Earlier we considered the case where the boundaries conditions were the Cauchy type, where the function and its derivative at one point in the boundary were specified. Now f prime is not specified in the boundary condition, so we can't use the same procedure. So we integrate once again. So integrating this once again, we get f of x minus f of a is equal to the integral of f prime of a. F prime of a is a constant function evaluated at some point a. This derivative is 0. So we have f prime of a multiplied by x minus a minus omega square a2x derivative of this dx prime, ax prime, dx double prime, f of x prime, dx double prime. We now use Cauchy's theorem for n is equal to 2 to get f of x is equal to h naught, because f of a is h naught, plus f prime a of x minus a plus omega square. For the double integral is converted into a single integral by Cauchy's theorem. So the double integral simply becomes an integral x to a dx prime, integrand being fx prime into x minus x prime. Now we put x is equal to b, and we have the boundary condition that the value of the function at this second point b is specified. So f of b is equal to h1. We then get h1 is equal to h naught plus f prime of a multiplied by b minus a plus omega square, and integral of b to a over dx prime, the integrand being a product of the function of x prime multiplied by b minus x prime, which means that f prime a is 1 upon b minus a into, within brackets, h1 minus h naught minus omega square integral from b to a over dx prime of b minus x prime fx prime. We have simply brought f prime a b minus a on the left hand side and h1 on the right hand side and divided by b minus a, just to write it in this form. Now we substitute the value of f prime a into the original equation, and we get then f of x is equal to h naught plus x minus a divided by b minus a multiplied by, within brackets, h1 minus h naught minus omega square, an integral from a to b or dx prime of fx prime x prime minus b plus omega square, an integral from a to x of dx prime x prime minus x of into fx prime. Now the integral from a to b can be broken, that is, the interval from a to b can be written as from a to x plus an integral from x to b. That is, integral over a to b we can write as equal to an integral from a to x plus an integral from x to b. Above equation then becomes f of x is equal to h naught plus x minus a divided by b minus a into h1 minus h naught plus omega square dx prime x prime minus a into b minus x divided by b minus a fx prime from a to x plus omega square from x to b, b minus x prime into x minus a divided by b minus a dx prime fx prime. This equation is usually written in terms of a kernel k, so we can write this equation as f of x is equal to h naught plus x minus a divided by b minus a into h1 minus h naught plus omega square from a to b. Now dx prime, a function k of x and x prime which we have introduced, multiplied by f of x prime, where this function f x of x prime that we have introduced, the value kx comma x prime is equal to x prime minus a into b minus x divided by b minus a for x prime less than x, and is equal to x minus a into b minus x upon b minus divided by b minus a for x prime greater than x. The another thing to note is that this function k, which is called the kernel, this function k of the variable x and x prime is symmetric in the sense that function k of x and x prime is the same function when x and x prime are interchanged. So this is a property that will be relevant when one solves the integral equations. The symmetry property, however, is not always true, as the next example will show. The next example which we consider is the example of a one-dimensional damped harmonic oscillator. So we have extra term which is proportional to the first derivative of f in the equation. So the equation which we want to solve is the differential equation d2fx by dx square plus lambda times df by dx plus omega square f of x equal to 0. Notice that this is the equation of a damped harmonic oscillator. And we have to solve this equation with the Cauchy boundary conditions that the value of the function at one point of the boundary f of 0 is equal to 0 and the other point of the boundary f of b is also equal to 0. Now we integrate the equation between x equal to 0 and x. So first term simply gives me f prime of x minus f prime of 0 plus lambda. Second term is lambda f of x plus lambda f of 0 which is equal to 0 plus omega square integral of f of x, which I read f of x prime dx prime from a to x, and the right hand side is equal to 0. Now when we integrate again, the first term on the left hand side is f of x. Then I have term, the second term on integration, f prime 0 is constant. So you just, when I integrate here, I just get x. So the second term is x times f of prime evaluated at 0. The third term is lambda. The integral of fx, write as fx prime dx prime from 0 to x. Fourth term is 0 and the fifth term finally is to be integrated from 0 to x. So the fourth term is written as omega square 0 to x dx prime from 0 to x prime of fx prime dx double prime. So the equation then becomes f of x minus x f prime 0 plus 0 integral of f of x prime over dx prime from 0 to x plus omega square and a double integral over x double prime with the limits 0 to x prime for x double prime and 0 to x for x prime of the integral fx prime is equal to 0. Now in the double integral on the left hand side of this equation 3.14, we use the Cauchy's theorem. Using the Cauchy's theorem, then this double integral is converted to a single integral and we get f of x minus x f prime of 0 plus lambda integral of fx prime dx prime from 0 to x plus omega square integral over dx prime from 0 to x of the function fx prime multiplied by x minus x prime. This term is obtained from Cauchy's theorem for n is equal to 2. Now putting x equal to b here, we get, since f of b is equal to 0, so we get 0 minus b f prime 0 plus lambda 0 to b dx prime fx prime plus omega square integral 0 to b minus x prime fx prime dx prime is equal to 0. Now substituting the value of f prime 0 from what we had obtained, we get f of x is equal to lambda x by b, an integral over dx prime of fx prime from 0 to b plus omega square x by b multiplied by the integral from 0 to b over dx prime of the function fx prime multiplied b minus x prime minus the integral lambda dx prime of fx prime minus omega square the integral over dx prime from 0 to x minus x prime fx prime. And once again, the integral interval from 0 to b can be broken as an integral from 0 to x and x to b. When we do this, we get f of x is equal to lambda x by b, x to b, dx prime, fx prime plus omega square b, x to b, b minus x prime, fx prime, dx prime plus lambda by b, 0 to x, x minus b, fx prime plus omega square by b, 0 to x prime into b minus x, fx prime, dx prime, which can now be written as equal to the right hand side. We can write as equal to an integral over dx prime of a function which we define as a function k of x and x prime multiplied by f of x prime from all the range 0 to p, where the function k of x prime and x is now given by kx of x prime is equal to lambda x by b plus omega square x by b, x into b minus x prime if x prime is greater than x, and is equal to lambda by b of x minus b plus omega square by b multiplied by x into b minus x prime for x less than x prime. Now look at this definition of x minus x prime here. In this case, as we interchange x to x prime, this function f, this function k of x and x prime is no longer symmetric. So here's the example where the corresponding integral equation that we obtained, namely f of x is equal to integral 0 to b of kx comma x prime fx prime dx prime with the kernel k defined as above, and the kernel k is no longer symmetric. We now illustrate the conversion of integral equation into a corresponding differential equation by giving an explicit example. So we have the integral equation f of x is equal to a times x plus an integral from 0 to x of gt multiplied by x minus t dt, gt multiplied by x minus t minus lambda times an integral over dt from 0 to x of f of t multiplied by x minus t. Now look, this is an example of a Volterra non-homogeneous equation. It's a non-homogeneous equation because you have the term ax on the right hand side. This non-homogeneous equation has a kernel kxt which is equal to lambda times t minus x and the function g of x which is equal to a times x plus integral 0 to x of x minus t gt dt. So unknown function is f of x. This has to be solved. So the non-homogeneous term is ax plus the integral 0 to x of g and t multiplied x minus t over dt. So the first two terms together can be written as g of x and constitute a non-homogeneity in the equation. In order to obtain the corresponding ordinary differential equation, so as we have shown before, we start by taking the derivative of this equation. So derivative of this equation is obtained by using the chain rule which I discussed earlier. So taking the derivative, the total derivative of the left of the function f of x df of x dx is then equal to a times the derivative of x with respect to x, which is 1, plus the derivative of the upper limit in the integral. Upper limit is x, such derivative is of 1, then multiplied by 0, plus derivative of the lower limit, which is 0 itself, plus the derivative of x minus t with respect to x, 0 to x, gt dt, minus lambda times the derivative of the upper limit, which is 1, derivative of lower limit with 0, and the third term 0 to x ft dt. So when we put this together, we get the first derivative of the integral equation as df by dx is equal to a plus the integral 0 to x gt dt minus lambda times integral of ft 0 to x. Differentiating once again, we get d2 of fx by dx square is equal to gx minus lambda fx. Now with the boundary condition obtained from the equations 3.21 and 3.23 that we have, as the value of f evaluated at the point x equal to 0 is equal to 0 and the derivative evaluated at the point x equal to 0 is some constant a. We'll consider another example. In this case, consider the differential equation, again a second order ordinary differential equation, d2y by dx square minus yx equal to 0 with the boundary condition that the value of the function at x equal to 0 is equal to 1 and value of the derivative at x equal to 0 is equal to 1. So since the boundary conditions are in terms of the function and its derivative at one point in the boundary, when we convert this differential equation, we will obtain the corresponding Volterra integral equation. And again, to do this, we start by integrating the given differential equation from 0 to x. So when we integrate it once, we get y prime x minus y prime 0 is equal to integral of yx dx from 0 to x. Substituting for y prime 0, which is equal to 1, I get y prime x is equal to 1 plus an integral from 0 to x of yx over dx. We can integrate this once again. So when you integrate this once again, the left hand side becomes y of x minus y of 0, and the right hand side, when we integrate this becomes 0 to x, becomes a double integral y of t dt, y of t integrated over dt and dx from 0 to x plus x, because the integral of 1 on the right hand side gives me x. So when we integrate this y prime x equal to 1 plus an integral 0 to x of yx over dx, we get y of x minus y of 0 is equal to double integral of y of t or dt dx from 0 to x plus x. We now use Cauchy's theorem and the boundary condition that y of 0 is equal to 1. So when you use these two things, then I get y of x is equal to 1 plus x plus the double integral is converted by the Cauchy theorem to x minus t yt dt from 0 to x. So we have obtained the corresponding integral equation as y of x is equal to 1 plus x plus an integral over dt from 0 to x of the function yt multiplied by x minus t. Now this we had done by specifying the boundary condition over the function and its derivative at one point in the boundary. If on the other hand, we had specified Dirichlet boundary conditions at the endpoints of the interval, suppose this equation is to be integrated between the interval minus 1 to 1, and if we specify the boundary condition at the endpoints of this boundary, namely at 1 and minus 1, by saying that the value of the function at the boundary 1, y of 1 is equal to 1, and also the value of the function at the boundary minus 1 is equal to 1. Then the interval in this case being from minus 1 to 1, we will obtain the Fredholm equation corresponding to the differential equation which we considered, namely d2y by dx square minus yx is equal to 0. Remember, look at this equation is again nothing but the equation of a harmonic oscillator type of equation. So when we convert this equation into an integral equation, depending on the boundary condition, we can obtain either a Volterra integral equation or a Fredholm type of differential equation. So if we specify Dirichlet boundary conditions, then we would obtain a Fredholm integral equation, which can be done again. Now in this case, by integrating the equation, differential equation d2y dx square minus yx equal to 0, integrating now this form minus 1 to x. First integration gives us y prime x minus y prime 0 is equal to integral of yx dx from minus 1 to x. Since the derivative of the function at minus 1 is not given, we have to proceed differently. So when we integrate once again and use the Cauchy's theorem, we get y of x minus y of minus 1 is integral of x minus t yt dt minus 1 to x plus y prime of 1 into 1 plus x. This integral x minus t yt from minus 1 to 1 over dt, this is obtained by when we integrate again and use the Cauchy's theorem. Now we find that y prime minus 1 from the boundary condition y of 1. See, y is given, y of 1 is equal to 1. So when we substitute x is equal to 1 in the above equation, what do we get? We get the integral from minus 1 to 1 when we substitute x is equal to 1. Then we get an integral from minus 1 to 1 of 1 minus t yt dt plus 2 y prime or minus 1 is equal to 0. And thus y prime can be substituted and we get y of x is equal to 1 minus half into 1 plus x, which is equal to minus 1 to 1, 1 minus t yt dt plus minus 1 to x minus t yt dt. Breaking interval from minus 1 to 1 again into two intervals, one from minus 1 to x and another from x to 1. And since minus half times 1 plus x into 1 minus t plus x minus t is equal to half of 1 plus t into 1 minus x, then using this, we find that y of x is equal to 1 minus half integral minus 1 to 1 of 1 minus x into 1 minus t yt dt minus half integral from x to 1 of 1 plus x into 1 minus t yt dt, which can be expressed as y of x is equal to 1 minus an integral from minus 1 to 1 of dt of the function yt multiplied by the kernel xt, where the kernel xt can identify as kernel k of x and t is equal to half 1 minus x into 1 plus t if x is greater than t and is equal to half 1 plus x into 1 minus t if x is less than t. Thus, we get the corresponding Fredholm integral equation, namely y of x is equal to 1 minus integral from minus 1 to 1 of or dt of the function which is a product of the kernel k xt into yt, where y is the unknown and the kernel k is defined as we have seen. So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. First, we have shown that second order differential equation with given boundary conditions can be converted into an integral equation. We have of course considered first and second order equations, but this result is quite general. The method we have followed can be easily generalized to higher order equations. Instead of integrating the given equation twice, as we have done for second order equation, one will need to now integrate n times for the nth order equation and use the Cauchy's formula finally. The rules for conversion for differential equations into integral equations are then what we have discussed. With the initial boundary condition equation can be converted into a Volterra type integral equation, and a Cauchy type differential equation can be, which has a 2-point boundary condition, can be converted into a Fredholm type of integral equation. Dirichlet's differential equation have boundary conditions where in that equation the boundary conditions are built into the integral equations. Integral equations are often easier to solve numerically than differential equations when exact solutions are not there. Thank you.